Hey everyone, welcome to Be the Change. My name is Lily Mott, and today's episode is about how change comes when you find your support group. This is a very special episode because today's episode features the host of the latest podcast to launch on Be the Change Media Network. Vaish Kash is the host of The Track Record, which just released on Friday, and it is the first podcast on Be the Change Media Network to feature full video content, in addition to the audio, of course. So, with that very quick introduction, let's dive into this episode featuring Vaish Kash.
When I'm trying to describe myself, I just keep on thinking, okay, maybe this is also important, because there's so many things that make you as a person, but we'll keep as short as possible. But hi, this is Vaishnavi. I like it when friends call me Vaish Kash, and I like to go with that as much as I can. But my legal name is Vaishnavi Kashyap, and I'm just a girly pop, 23 years old from Chandigarh, India. I did my undergraduation in BCom honors, that's Bachelor's in Commerce honors degree, and I was so proud of it. But the moment I got out and got into the workforce, I was like, okay, I don't know anything, honestly speaking, because I like to believe that I was an overachiever in college. I started a queer feminist collective in my college. I was in the debating society. I was a core member. I was managing that as much as I could. I also started doing modeling. So a lot of things were happening when I started college, but the moment I was out, I felt like an imposter, especially because then I started working in BCG of all places. I didn't see that coming, honestly speaking. I went into data analytics. So a lot was happening, but I now felt in touch with myself as a person. So the moment I got an opportunity, I just left that. It was a big thing because everyone was like, hey, who leaves BCG so early in their career? But I took that leap of faith, started working with my dad. He's a graphic designer. He has his print advertising firm that's called Vaishnavi Graphics. So that was fun for me. But again, was very happy to be in touch with my family business, but still felt like something is missing in my life. So once, the moment I got this opportunity, I just leapt onto it that, okay, I can talk about music, something that I constantly yap about all the time with my friends, and I can make it political because I have been a debater for now 8 years of my life. I coach students in school how to debate, how to do anyone's, all types of debating, honestly speaking. So it was just a confluence of a lot of my interests as a person and my hobbies. So I've been very excited. And I could make it colorful and fashionable. So yes, of course I'm happy.
I love that. I think that was such a wonderful introduction. Tell me a little bit about the track record. Tell me about the inspiration behind the track record. You touched on it a little bit, but give me that background story leading up to the creation of your podcast.
Okay, so generally speaking about myself as a person, as I said, I yap a lot about music. I am I am such a simp for pop stars. I love it when they do something interesting all the time because that's something that moves pop culture. You can put everything into perspective as much as you can understand music, has been my, at least, a belief. So when I saw your post that said, okay, we are looking for hosts who can just start a podcast, I literally just sat for an hour and I'm like, I know what I want to do, but let me just sit for an hour, articulate myself, and then put it as a framework. And then I stuck to it. It was so intuitive for me because I keep on yapping about music because I love music so much. Of course, that's how the idea at least came to be, especially because my consumption of media has been specifically within YouTube and Spotify world for podcasts specifically. It has been about video essays from K-pop stans talking about why this particular group is not working, or maybe they are. What was something so unique about them? And I felt like, okay, I love the fact that they're talking about music itself, but I never specifically find people talking about how that music moves people as culture, as if had it has had that kind of impact on people, that emotional, that vulnerable impact that people feel when they listen to that kind of music. I always felt that was missing, and I'm so happy that I'm I feel that I'm able to fill in that gap in this kind of industry right now. Let's see where it goes though.
Definitely. And I think it's a very unique podcast for Be the Change Media Network. I'm hoping that we'll get more music and art type podcasts on the network, but I think you just came in with this splash and I think it's been wonderful. I think everybody should definitely check it out, especially because you have the video podcasting side. Can you tell me a little bit about why you chose to do videos plus podcasting? Because I think it's incredible. I always tell people my favorite part of podcasting is that I can do it in my pajamas and no one will see me. But I feel like you've embraced the entire other side of this where you're doing video and you're doing your reels before the podcast is released and all of these extra things, which I think is so inspiring for me as someone who's like, I'll just turn on the mic and talk into it. I think you're doing all of these other things. Tell me about that and why you decided to take kind of the multimedia approach, what that looks like for you. Tell me that background story.
First the background, then how it came to be.
Perfect.
So I have been a dancer since I was like 6. I was trained in hip hop for like 6 years. Then I left it for Bhangra. Then I left it for whacking. Then I left that for locking and a lot of other dance forms as well. So I was exploring that and I always felt that need to record myself all the time. So even though I have been someone who sends a lot of voice notes, I rather prefer sending my friends, for example, just videos of myself throughout the day. Like if I'm doing something interesting, I'd rather send them a video of myself doing that thing rather than describing that in a voice note, for example. So I have always been that person who enjoys being in front of camera. So when that comes with the fact that, oh, I get an excuse to just dress up, I will take that any moment. Like right now, also, I knew I'm sitting for an interview. Let me just dress up, even if it takes 15, 20, how many minutes. So that's who I am as a person, is why I was so excited about getting any opportunity to just record myself. But generally speaking, also, so like I listen to a lot of music centric podcasts, specifically talking about the evolution of Snake. It's by someone called Zach. And he goes by Swiftologist. Because I'm such a big Swiftie, that was one big thing that just came to my algorithm out of nowhere. I didn't look for that, it came to me. And when I saw him like interacting with his another friend he met through Tumblr, and he did video podcasts. So even if it's available on Spotify, I just love seeing those faces behind those voices, because it's so animate. Honestly speaking, whenever they're talking, it's always like, oh, there's just like you can see how those thoughts are flowing through their mind. So I've always been someone who appreciates visual mediums, not just audio mediums. So like having that visual audio medium has been something that has been inspiring, especially because I also enjoy a lot of streamers, political streamers, Wash, Hasanabi, a lot of people, honestly speaking. And I've always realized, yes, I can always just listen to them. Most of the times I'm actually roaming around in my house doing some things when these things are on, these like podcasts or streams are on. But still, like I can come back every time when something crazy happens, like someone screaming, I'm like, okay, what happened? I'll come back and see what happened. So just because it's more attention grabbing is why I just enjoy visual medium so much, and is why I thought, okay, if I'm going to do a podcast, let me do it both visual audio.
I think that makes so much sense. And I would love for you to give a sneak peek of the first episode of the track record for people who haven't listened to it yet. Tell us what that was like. Tell us about the process. I loved the first episode, so that's just my own personal pitch to people. Go check it out. But give us a little rundown of that first episode of the track record.
So generally, when someone thinks about vulnerability, they're always thinking, oh, it's going to be soft. It's going to be like, especially when it comes to music, it will be sad ballads. They think about Olivia Rodrigo. They think about Taylor Swift. But especially if you're a K-pop stan, you'd realize how things are so meticulous and like just trying to fit into one box. Having someone like Jenny out of Blackpink, right out of Blackpink, coming with the straight vision that, hey, I am a vulnerable person. I want to share this vulnerability. I want to be personal with my fans. But that does not mean it has to be weak, so to speak. It can be strong. It can be like, I will just destroy the world for my loved ones. I will directly just combat with people who called me lazy when I was actually suffering as a person. Things like that are very inspiring. And especially as a woman, she was coming from a very misogynistic society. And like seeing that as a woman myself, it was very inspiring. And I always felt like I want to talk about it with all my friends, even though if they're not K-pop fans, especially because Jenny now is focusing on the Western world as well. Jenny is focusing to be global, even though she has been global with Blackpink, has been so global. Right now, the taste of music is not just how you would imagine K-pop to be so bubblegum as they say, even though it's not necessarily speaking, different conversation. But just having someone just claim their agency so beautifully and put it in a vision, that was very inspiring for me, and I wanted the world to know about it, specifically from cultural and political views.
I think that you absolutely hit that mark. I actually hadn't listened to the song before, but then right when you started talking about it, I like paused it and then I went to listen to the song, which I think is a great way for everyone listening to your podcast. That's a little tip. I think if you haven't listened to the song, do that. Like watch your little intro, which is amazing as well, and then go and listen to the song and then come back because I think it was so cool to have listened and then kind of have that live take as it was in my mind. It was perfect. Tell me about some of the episodes that you have planned to come out in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. Don't give away all your secrets, but tell me a couple that people can look forward to.
So I want to keep it a bi-monthly like schedule because it's easy on me to research as deep as I can go, of course. But I saw a lot of Coachella performances and that inspired me. Like, of course, I love Charlie XCX. Of course, I love Lady Gaga. And Lady Gaga just came up with a new album and it has been crazy. So, of course, I want to focus on that. Charlie just said Brad Summer is not dead. So, of course, I want to focus on that still. And of course, another artist that I will like give out to people is BTS because their 13th anniversary is coming soon. So I want to talk about it. 12th or 13th, I'm not sure about the number, but I think they will come back soon because their military service is ending, all of that. So yes, I'm excited to talk about these people. I'll just keep it there. Won't give out any more artists. But I think this is exciting enough already.
That's perfect. I think that was a great sneak peek, things for people to look forward to. So, as far as your journey, and I think you choosing different career paths and trying out different things, I think that you are using your voice for change. And I think that you're inspiring people to take a risk and to do new things. And I think that's so cool. What advice would you have for young people who might want to make change, who might want to push the boundaries, take risks? But might not know how to get started or where to get started with that work? What advice would you want to share with them?
Firstly, I don't think I'm someone who can give like an advice that would be applicable to everyone. Everyone has like different experiences. But one thing that I have noticed that works literally for everyone and is generally something that everyone should focus on to have a support group. It can look like your parents if they're supportive. If not, it can look like the friends you find. But being very much in touch and understanding of your own feelings and how those other people make you feel. Because if you have a support system, things work. Even if you're taking risks, people have your back, honestly speaking. So save some money if you have to like take some sort of risk. Save some money first, of course. If you don't have that kind of backing, of course, generational wealth obviously would be the first best option. But if you don't have it, it's still possible to do things. But you have to be very independent like that then. Save some money, have a good support system, and then sit and plan things a little bit. Not a lot, at least have your thoughts not if not just as like action plans, then at least goals. Like by probably say 25, 30, I want to do at least this. Don't keep high expectations, but like at the very least, I know these things would make me happy. As long as things make you happy, life is good. Of course, things change as you grow up. You realize a lot of different things and you shift and adapt as you go. But just be true to yourself, be in touch with your own feelings. Things would be good.
It was so great to talk with Vaish Kash, and it's been so much fun to work on the track record. But now, I want you to scroll down to the description of this episode and click on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or other platforms, which are all ways to get to the first episode of The Track Record. Download the episode and have a listen. If you'd like to watch the podcast, you can also find the link in the description that will take you to YouTube, so you can see the video recording of The Track Record, which is so fun to watch. And you can subscribe to Be the Change Media Network on YouTube, so you don't miss new episodes of The Track Record or our other network podcasts. We are creating an inspiring network of podcasts and hosts sharing stories from around the world on Be the Change Media Network, which I think is a great testament to how change comes when you find your support group. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and you can find Vaish Kash on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I included those links as well as the links to listen to The Track Record in the description of this episode. If you want to talk about anything I mentioned, please reach out to me by email at lily@bethechangepodcast.org or on Instagram at Be the Change Media Network. I'm working on expanding Be the Change Media Network, which means bringing you more inspiring stories from amazing guests. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could leave the podcast a rating and a comment, because it will help these stories to reach, educate, and inspire more people. And I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Tune in for my next episode, but until then, be the change you wish to see in the world. Bye, guys.